Hey, what is going on? Guardians TBL here, and tonight it is Thursday night, so you know what that means. You can stop hitting F5 because the Bungie Weekly blog, This Week at Bungie, for the week of May 17th, 2018 has finally arrived. Now, it's already been a pretty busy week in the world of Destiny. We're, of course, in the second week overall of Warmind. I think it's been a pretty good DLC thus far. We just got a development roadmap for the future showing off some of the things we'll be getting during this summer and in the expansion later on. We made a video covering that. Be sure to go check that out. But this week, it's going to be all about your progression in Warmind. And that is exactly where we're going to start things in this week's TWAB. In a section titled Powerful Progress, we get to hear about how exactly Bungie is going to be changing the way you grind out power moving forward in Destiny 2. They start things out by saying that the Warmind progression system for power level is an improvement over Curse of Osiris, but not exactly where Bungie ultimately wants things to end up, and I would agree, as the linear progression system in Warmind is certainly engaging for the most part, but it's definitely got some issues right now between heroic strikes and then certainly what you're supposed to do once your milestones and whatnot run out. Thankfully, Bungie has been listening to that feedback, and they're going to be making some changes to heroic strikes and the overall power level grind that should be going into effect on May 29th. The blog states that Bungie needs to make iterations one step at a time so that feedback can be incorporated and ensure that they're heading in the right direction when it comes to power progression. And so, on May 29th, heroic strikes are going to be seeing some changes. First things first, escalation protocol key fragments will become a 100% drop chance from each heroic strike. Now this is actually kind of great. Of course, escalation protocol key fragments are those items that you utilize. You build up a stack of 7 of them, you take them to Anna Bray, and she will create an encrypted cache key that you utilize while playing through the different levels of escalation protocol to turn into a decrypted cache key that you use to open the chest once you've finished round 7. Currently, these drop from all kinds of sources out there on Mars, but making it a 100% drop chance from heroic strikes is a great incentive to get people out and into the heroic strike playlist. Additionally, heroic strikes will be able to drop better rewards. When this update goes live, every 3 to 5 heroic strikes that you run will drop a legendary that can carry you up to 360 power, of course before mods. This should help better align the rewards of heroic strikes with the difficulty of the activity and help solo players have a more reliable source of upgrades. I love this. This is a direct response to some feedback right now. If you've gone through the heroic strike playlist, you know how difficult it is. And personally right now, it's not really worth the grind because it doesn't really get you past those soft light level caps. It really kind of doesn't make a lot of sense that this activity that requires you to be 350 to 360 light doesn't drop gear that's at that light level. So I'm very happy that they're allowing heroic strikes to drop higher light level gear, at least up to 360, so long as you're continually running strikes within that playlist. I think that's a very good change, and this tied in with the escalation protocol key fragment change is definitely great incentive to get you into that playlist. This is again a direct response to player feedback about the way heroic strikes are working, so I'm very happy to see Bungie is listening and actively tuning the game based off of that. Again, these changes are supposed to go into effect later this month on the 29th. Now, there are some additional issues that are being tracked that they don't quite have solutions for. These include finding methods to help smoothen out the transition into the in-game grind once the campaign is over, players having no real rewards to chase after once their weekly milestones are complete. I think that's a really big problem right now. In-game progression needing more tiers. As I say, right now, everything gives similar sized upgrades without discrete tiers in the progression system for players to climb. So they can tackle new activities and, in turn, climb to a new tier with new activities. Although that's a pretty big progression change, and they go on to say that don't expect anything along those fronts until September. Which is neat. I like that they're being completely upfront about a lot of the big systemic changes coming later this year. And of course, the quality of rewards not always matching the difficulty of a specific activity. Looking at you, heroic strikes. And of course, also the raid. And so with all that being said, I like that they're talking about changing up the progression system. I think that's definitely been a complaint that the community's had when it comes to Warmind right now, especially when it comes to milestones. I feel like once you've beaten all of your weekly milestones, you really have no reason to log on to Destiny and play anymore that week. And that's a shame, considering the game is much more fun to play now. And still, players will need more of an incentive to actually jump back on it. So a lot of this is really good to hear, and I'm very happy to see that progression changes are going to be coming starting very soon, again later this month. Alright, after that they had a quick kind of question and answer session about glory ranking and matchmaking and some stuff like that. We'll leave a link to the TWAB in the description box below if you want to read the entirety of these questions and answers. But the basic gist of it was talking a bit about matchmaking, how they've changed their settings, they've re-implemented some of the fireteam protection, so it should be a little bit better for you solo players out there. And of course, they're looking at implementing some changes so that when you join a game in progress in the Valor mode, you don't join games in progress in competitive, at least you're not supposed to. But when you join a game in progress in Valor mode, and let's say the team has a pretty heavy advantage over you, it not counting as a loss for you and taking away your win streak. That's a huge problem going on right now, so I'm very happy that they addressed it here. After that, we get the return of Iron Banner. That's right, Iron Banner control is coming back next week starting on Tuesday, May 22nd, going to May 29th. And along with the first Iron Banner of Season 3, of course, comes with a bunch of brand new rewards. We get this nice little shot of Lord Saladin with a bunch of awesome looking new weapons and armor ornaments. Now, as I recall, the Iron Banner is still going to be 6v6 when this comes back, so if you're a fan of that before, well, nothing's really changing for you. And of course, we get this great look at some of the new weapons. We got a new sidearm, a new auto rifle, a new submachine gun, hopefully it's in the new archetype, or at the very least, a 600 RPM archetype, a new energy hand cannon from the looks of it, and a new rocket launcher and sniper rifle. After that, we get a great look at the new Iron Banner ornaments, and they look extremely silver and shiny, especially the Titan set over there, looking like they're straight out of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like just straight shredder armor. So you can be pretty excited about that. The Iron Banner is returning next week and you've got a bunch of new stuff to grind for. Alright, after that we get some updates about some UI changes coming. Stuff like adding medals and stats to the post-game carnage reports after strikes and like PvP, as well as changes to the LFG section of Bungie's Destiny Companion app. If you want to get more information on that, again, we'll have a link to this down in the description box below if you want to read it. And that pretty much covers most of the big things that were in this week's Bungie weekly blog, This Week at Bungie. Again, a pretty big focus on changes to the overall power progression system in Destiny 2 as it currently stands, and how we're going to be seeing it improve as we move forward. I'm very happy to see that Bungie's taking a lot of the direct feedback we're giving on Warmind, and trying to implement changes based on it into future updates. It really does show that they are indeed listening, and they are trying to tailor the game into being the experience we want to come back to again and again. But alright, there we go. That is it for the biggest changes in this week's TWAB. What are your thoughts on all of this? What are your thoughts on the changes to progression and power and Iron Banner? Be sure to let us know down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 news. But anyways, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, I'm the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.